You got the touch.
Stan Bush here, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
My main man, I love this man. I want you to meet the Budali boys. These are good boys. Hey, who grabbed my ass? Did you grab my ass?
No, sir, I did not grab your ass.
It's okay if you did. I understand. Just like you're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, actually, if I may, had an idea for a club.
Wait. Did you grab my ass?
No.
You want to?
No. Should I?
Okay, continue.
You are now on the inside of what I like to call the circle of trust.
We are all connected in the great circle of life.
You know something, Bert? What? I think you and I are going in circles.
It feels like we're going in circles.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Because it's a circle.
Yeah, we heard about the circle. Yes, we're familiar with shapes.
Hi, this is Greg.
This is Chuck. And this is Dan, and we are Talking in Circles, brought to you by the Geekcast Radio Network, a podcast that asks the unanswerable questions and answers them. We are here back again, not live, unfortunately, but doing it the old-fashioned way. How's the week been going for you guys?
Pretty crazy. I'm getting over a little sucker punch from Mother Nature here. On the one day we had like a close to 80-degree day, and about less than 24 hours later we had 2 inches of snow.
Ouch.
So it's like, yeah, that's when you know you're in Pennsylvania. So,
no spring for you, I guess.
I guess not. I'm ready for it, though. I'm waiting.
So I am definitely ready for a little warmer weather, too. That couple of nice days that we had in there, I smoked. I'm going to leave a couple pauses in here.
Be careful how you
smoked
answer this.
Were you in Colorado?
Some space sausage. I didn't want to say those two words too close together. It might be misconstrued.
Yes.
But I'm also looking forward to nicer weather.
So was the sausage delicious, Greg?
It was fucking good.
Nice.
It was. I'm not a big sausage fan.
So you don't go to sausage parties?
No, I'm not into those.
What about Sausage Con?
No.
It's really big. A really big Sausage Con? You don't go to that?
No.
They're big in Germany, I heard.
Yeah.
I am part German, but no.
Interesting. Yeah, my week's been kind of nuts. Actually, I've been off, but went on a little bit of a vacation trip to visit my brother-in-law, my wife's brother. He's up in Yale, so we drove up to New Haven, Connecticut. And on the way there, I'm actually picked her up in Philly, and I was driving her new car that I talked about a few weeks ago. And I had the luxury of having a rock come up and smash the windshield on the side, putting a huge crack in it that now we have to get the windshield fixed. So it's literally 2 weeks old, and I only have to get it in for repairs. So
you could have the insurance help out a little bit on that.
I called. It was with the deductible. Really wouldn't help all that much. Luckily, it's not too expensive. It's only $200, so it could be worse. We got a pretty good deal. What's kind of cool though is they're gonna fix it while I'm at work. They're gonna drive up to my work and do it while I'm working. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of
nice. They have that now, yeah.
So because we're where do we go to? And they're like, there's actually not a location for you to go to. We come to you. I'm like, all right, that's convenient. So. I was so worried to tell Carol. I'm like, I broke her car. She came in for me for 2 days, and I broke her car. But it's just one of those things. It's you can't. It's a rock came, and it wasn't even that big. And I think it came off of a dump truck or something up the road, and it just came and smashed it right in the corner. Luckily, it was able to drive. It's not obstructing my view, but it's pretty substantial, and it's just getting bigger.
Ooh, the getting bigger's not good.
Yeah.
Did you do like the action movie and like just try to kick it out with your foot and like let it slide off
Making
the
it
side?
worse. It's like, this is not smart.
Pull up alongside the dump truck and start shooting at him.
Yeah. I did not do that. But
windshields are overrated anyway, though.
Yeah.
You don't need those.
Luckily, we have a sunroof, so I just stood up and stuck my head out of that and then drove that way. But also, when we were in New Haven, we visited New Haven, Connecticut. It's not all that fantastic, honestly. I have some really good pizza, though. I had some really good, like, classic Italian pizza, which was delicious. But we went to this one park, and it's just, like, on top of a hill. But I didn't know driving to it, like, I'd be driving up this mountain, and it's like, I felt like I was in, like, a transporter movie with, like, how curvy it was. It's like you're curvy, and, like, on the side, you just, like, a deep cavern, and I'm not a big fan of heights, so I'm like, I'm not liking this at all. I'm just, based upon all of my movie knowledge, something bad's gonna happen, some sort of tractor trailer with logs in the back is gonna be coming down anytime soon, and it's not gonna work out well, but...
By the way, Dan, if you do fall down the hill, the car will not explode how it does in movies.
No,
I'm just gonna put that out there.
But yeah, so that was a little bit of an adventure, but it's been nice. I've been able to, the good thing about being off this week is I've been able to watch a few movies, and actually went to the movies twice, actually. The one movie I saw, and I'm not going to go a great in-depth with it because there's a review on the site, and that is The Raid 2. I know a lot of people are like, I don't even know of the first Raid. The first Raid was The Raid Redemption, and have you guys ever heard of The Raid at all?
Yeah, I use it to kill bees all the time.
Damn it, I was going to use that joke!
Great minds think alike, yeah.
We are totally on the same page.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that, actually.
Well, The Raid Redemption, it's a martial arts film. It's made by an American director, but it was filmed in, I think, the Philippines. I'm not 100% certain, but it's an awesome, like, martial arts movie. Have any of you seen Dredd? The newer Dredd, not the Judge Dredd with Stallone, but the one that came out with, like, Carl Urban?
Yes, I did experience that acid trip.
Well, it has kind of a similar concept where it's about this guy who's basically trying to go with a SWAT team, go to the top of a building that's run by this kingpin to, like, revenge his brother. And basically it devolves into this martial arts, like, kick to the face fest. But it's an amazing action, really choreographed well. And because it's in the Philippines, you can kind of tell that there weren't many safety regulations, so they did a lot of crazy stuff. And it was really good. It was one of the better action movies I've seen in a while. Well, the sequel came out this year, The Raid 2, I forget the subtitle for it, but...
Also going up another tower.
Unfortunately, no. I think it probably would have been better if it did that, but they've kind of went beyond that normal concept, and it's more of a crime thriller type of story, because you had the same guy from the first film. Now he's in this one, but he goes undercover, and there's this, like, kind of a mob backstory where you have, like, these competing factions going against one another. And, I mean, the plot itself is nothing fantastic, and I think it's a little bit too much. I mean, the movie is like 2.5 hours, which is a lot for an action movie. But the action that is there is absolutely amazing. Chuck and Greg, I would definitely recommend you guys checking out the first Raid, even if you're not big martial arts fans, because it's a fun action film. The second Raid, if you're not really into martial arts movies, I really can't recommend it because of how much action there really is. You can almost kind of get bored with just how much there is. A lot of punching and kicking, but it's really done well. It's really inventive. There's a really good car chase in there too. So it's currently in theaters. I mean, you have to like subtitles because this is subtitled. If you want to wait for the dub version, I'm sure that'll be out soon too. But I definitely recommend that. And like I said, there's a review on geekcastradio.com that I wrote that you can get more information about it.
Is there also a dubstep version?
There is.
Will that be coming out as well?
That's the remix version. That's called the Raid 2 remix.
Is it auto-tuned or something?
Oh, I hope to God not. So, soundtrack brought to you by Kesha. But the second movie, talking about in the realm of music, and this one's actually on demand, and I've actually watched a lot of movies on demand. And I on our Facebook page, I posted this one article from IndieWire.com, and it's a good article that they bring out every month about like great movies to watch on demand. And there's always a bunch of them, and it's kind of cool because if you don't want to go to the movie theater, you can find a lot of good like independent films or smaller films that are good to watch. And the one that I picked out was actually a documentary. It's a rock documentary called Mistaken for Strangers. And the thing that this kind of told me about was how out of it I am about the music business, because it's about one of the most popular bands in the world that I never even heard of called The National. Greg, have you ever heard of them?
No, unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's because depression I'm going through, but I've really kind of lost interest in music. For the most part, I've only been really listening to one band that's really putting me in. No, not Kesha. Putting me in a good mood. It is a band it's fronted by a girl. I've been listening to Paramore. I really like Paramore, even though it's mostly young girls that listen to that band. But I really like Hayley Williams' voice, and she is really nice to look at. So
I never heard of them, so I'm glad I'm not alone. Because I don't even know the name of this band, but that's not really important because the interesting about the documentary is it's done by the lead singer's brother, who's kind of like a slob. If you've ever seen the documentaries American Movie or Anvil, the story of Anvil, it's like combining those into one movie. It's this guy who, his brother is this huge rock star, and he's never really accomplished much. He tried to make movies, but he's not really good at it. And he does these interviews, but he's not really good at it either. Like he asks questions like, when you're on stage, do you bring your wallet with you?
When you're on stage and you have to pee, do you just go in your pants like an astronaut does?
And he's like, so what's it like being famous? And the guy's like, well, I'm not that famous. But then he's like, well, you're more famous than any of my friends. And which is kind of just awkward. But so there's a lot of those funny moments of this guy who just it almost at times, it's, you know, the movie This Is Spinal Tap?
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a documentary version of that at times by mistake. So you're almost like, is he purposely being kind of ridiculous or not? But it actually is really funny, and there are some great like moments between him and his brother. Some like almost touching, you would say, because you see this guy who just simply can't get it to work. Like he's trying and he messes up so much, and it's really good. I would highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, it's on demand, I think. So it's only like $8 to get on demand. If you're a fan of documentaries, I'm a huge fan. I would definitely check it out. So it's a good time, you know, not too serious. I know a lot of people think documentaries, they think like, oh, well, this is about some sort of like cause or world history or, you know, some sort of Middle Eastern.
Oh, I have to learn something.
Exactly. Sometimes it can just be entertaining. And I think that one is it's entertaining, but it's also emotional in a good way. So you gotta like that, right? Good combination. Enough for me talking. Greg, what have you been up to?
I haven't really accomplished that much watching anything for the most part. I watched 2 shows. Finished up watching Young Justice, which I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it. It's mostly the sidekicks of the DC superheroes. You've got Robin, you've got Superboy, you've got Ms. Martian, you've got Artemis, and Kid Flash.
Question, who's Kid Flash a sidekick of?
No idea.
The kid.
The kid? Billy the Kid? Yeah. It's your normal DC fare. There's really good stories going on. Animation's really great. If you like watching the DC animated stuff, I'd highly recommend it. And then I also finished up another bit of DC cartoon with the Green Lantern animated series, which was really interesting. Stories, of course, are great. This is a little bit more suited for little kids. It's Bruce Timm artwork, but in CGI form, so that was pretty neat. And DC, once again, does a better job than Marvel in animated situations, and they definitely do a better job in CG animated situations as well.
Better than that Hulk and Iron Man movie?
Oh, way better than that. Way better. It's just very simplistic. They look like shiny little toys that you could be playing around with, but on screen.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I would check out both of those shows. If you're not into the little kid sensibility, maybe steer clear of Green Lantern, but it dealt with all the ring situation of how many billion different colors. I'm not sure how accurately close they were to the different storylines of that, but I only read parts of it, and it got confusing because there's so many damn different colors, and which one does this represent and that one represent?
So when their powers combined, does Captain Planet come out?
No.
You sound so dismissive of that. It's like, how dare you?
The color prism, Roy G. Biv.
But those were the only 2 things that I did with like watching movies and stuff. I was actually a little bit more social this week. I have a birthday that will have passed by the time this comes out. Hopefully Dan won't put my my birthday on Facebook. I'm going to try and avoid. I would like to avoid people that I do know commenting on my Facebook this time around. So I really don't want it advertised, I guess. But I went out with...
Happy birthday, Greg.
Thanks. But this girl that I've been hanging out with, she wanted to give me presents for my birthday, so she wanted to hang out. And we went to Red Robin. I just felt like having a burger. And exactly. It was really good. And I wanted to get a burger with an egg on it. That's one of my favorite things. The egg just makes the beef taste beefier. It's really good. But anyway, being a person that doesn't really get out there in social situations too much and me just being awkward when I go out, I wanted to ask the viewers, and they could comment anyway in the comments below on the Geekcast Radio, or Dan will give you information on how to contact you, how to get in contact with us at the end of the show. But I'd like to hear some opinions of, while we were there, we're sitting at the table, having a nice little discussion, and the waitress would come and go, take our order and whatnot. But it was really odd. Like I'm trying to be more social, so I'm like trying to get eye contact and look at people and kind of smile to be more endearing and everything. But every time I did this to this girl and like talked to her, placed my order, and I was kind of answering more than my friend Ashley was. Ashley was just staying quiet and just letting me take care of everything for the most part. But this girl would never answer me or look at me. She always looked at Ashley, even if I was like, oh yeah, we'll have more of that. And she'll be like, okay. And she'll be staring at Ashley while saying it instead of me. And I just don't, I'm like, what the hell happened here? Why is she not looking over at me? I'm the one responding, hello. So I was just wondering if anybody had any ideas of what that situation was. After, like, when we were leaving, I left a note to, like, text me that I was like, what was up with that, which is really odd for me. But I left that, which probably made me seem like a creeper. But
did she text you back?
No, she never texted. It was kind of disappointing. I left it under the coaster and left it sticking out a little bit, so maybe it just got thrown away in the meantime. I don't know. But no,
I've actually had that happen to me a couple times, so it's not an isolated incident. It does happen. I'm really not sure why. It's kind of weird.
I don't know. But then there was another situation afterwards. We went over to the bookstore because we both like to read and rummage through books and stuff. And anytime I go to a bookstore, I always feel like I have to buy stuff. I'm trying to remember if I did that night. I'm pretty sure I did. I think I got Fable, book number 4, the graphic novel, and I got Saga Volume 2 while I was there. But there was an interesting situation as we were sitting down for a cup of coffee and hot chocolate. As we're sitting there, a woman's over at the counter placing her order, and there's a man there that kind of is like standing behind her, also waiting in line. I've seen him there multiple times hanging out with, an ex-friend at this point. We always would see this gentleman whenever we went in, so he's a frequent customer there. But all of a sudden I hear him say, "You touched my butt." And I kind of was like, what? And I kind of turned and I saw him there, and he's talking with this lady, and they're kind of talking a little lower register, so I couldn't understand what was really going on. But it sounded kind of jovial and kind of funny, joking kind of situation, so I thought they knew each other. So I kind of went back to my talking with Ashley. Then, like, a minute later, in a way more serious voice, way louder because it got the attention of everybody in the little cafe area, we heard, "You touched my butt." And I'm like, okay, now my attention is back to this again. From what I got out of it, this lady apparently lost her credit card. She got up to the counter, apparently lost her credit card. You see, I saw her looking around a lot, looking for stuff. And I think she thought that the guy stole it or something. Like I said, I wasn't hearing all of it. I was getting bits and pieces. And I'm assuming that since she thought he had it, she went looking in his pocket for it, and that was her touching his butt. But then anytime after that, she was like, I didn't touch your butt. I didn't touch your butt. I didn't touch your butt. She just kept claiming that.
Was this coffee shop in a kindergarten classroom by any chance?
No, they were both probably double my age, I'm assuming, these people. But a manager had to get called over.
Did he touch his butt?
No, the manager was another she.
Did they get out a doll and say, tell me where the girl touched you?
No. But the lady was complaining to the manager that apparently he stole the card, but the manager was like, I have to trust him because he's a usual customer. He's in here all the time. He's never done anything like that, so I'm going to have to trust him. And the guy's like just going, just call the cops. Call the cops. I have nothing to hide. Just call the cops and we'll get this over with. I'll talk to them.
Please call the cops. They'll touch my butt. I think he just wanted someone to touch his butt.
No, I think he was very shocked that someone did touch his butt. He just wanted the cops called. He's like, I'll tell them that she touched my butt. They'll see that I don't have the card. I'm in no wrong here. And they were trying to get the barista, like, her testimony as to what happened. And she was like, I'm not getting involved. But eventually, as like it kind of breaks up a little bit, and they kind of go to their tables, and later on we find out as we're checking out from the cashier up there, oh yeah, the cops were called, they're going to be here soon and whatnot. So we're like, okay, and we kind of left, not knowing what the end result was going to be. As we were standing outside, because like usual, I always stand outside of the bookstore and talk for like an hour or two.
What's that like?
Well, the cops didn't show up at all. So they're slowest freaking cops on earth, and we didn't see those two customers leave. So who knows what happened? But this is what happens when I go out and try and be social in the world.
Some butt touching at a coffee shop, huh?
Yeah, and awkward not talking to me and talking to the person I'm with.
I'm guessing those two people fell in love and lived happily ever after.
Well, the lady went over to her table, and apparently her husband was there, but the husband didn't really do or say anything for the most part to cause a ruckus or anything. So
he's probably hiding behind a magazine, like slouching down. Like
she does this all the time. She's always touching the butts of others. Well, there you go. Any other random?
Those were my weird stories for this week.
Weird stories of the week. Chuck, how about yourself? Any butt touching going on in your neck of the woods?
No butt touching, thank God. I did have a pretty busy week as far as watching stuff. I was able to go to the theater twice this past weekend.
Nice. That's like a boss.
Yeah, owning it, you know. Doing my part to support the movie industry. The first one I saw was God's Not Dead. The latest Christian movie, of which there are several coming out this year. Inexplicably, for some reason this year, there are a ton of them. But I'm liking it. There's a lot of good ones coming out. I saw this one with my girlfriend. We both really enjoyed it a lot.
Did she
actually, that's classified. But actually, I would go as far as saying this movie is one of my favorites so far this year. I really, really enjoyed it. This movie stars Kevin Sorbo of Hercules fame, and also has Dean Cain. And there's some appearances by Christian rock band called Newsboys, and
I didn't even know those guys were still around.
Yeah. And Willie Robertson and his wife Corey from the TV show Duck Dynasty, which I don't watch, but I do recognize them because their face is on everything.
I know. You go into a bookstore and you just see Duck Dynasty stuff everywhere.
I know.
Touching other people's butts.
Basically, the movie's about a kid that starts college. He's a freshman, and he decides to take philosophy as his elective. And he gets to his first class, and he realizes that the professor, who is played by Kevin Sorbo, is a huge atheist, and he's trying to push it onto all the students in the class.
Sorry to interrupt, Chuck. I don't like people that push other things on other people. I don't like religious people that push things on people. I don't like religious people that push that on people. It's ugh.
Yeah, and that's
I only like drug pushers. Those I'm okay with.
And that's why this movie is great too, because it kind of like, I don't know, it kind of addresses that issue in like a little bit of a subtle way, and it's kind of like masterfully done in my opinion. But they got some subplots going on the side with some different characters, and you know, you're kind of wondering what they all have to do with each other and all this stuff. And that's where the Duck Dynasty people make their cameos, and the part was fantastic because I think it was kind of aimed at like certain critics of that show and those types of shows. The girl does like an ambush interview where she like jumps up behind a wall as they're walking down the street, and she kind of corners them and was asking their questions about the TV show, and she's like, you know, what do you say to these critics that say that you're forcing your religion on them and you have open prayer in every episode and all this stuff? And the guy Willie, he has a great reply. He says, listen, he's like, we're not forcing anything. It's like, if you don't want to watch our show, you can change the channel. And I thought that was fantastic because people get so bent out of shape and they fail to realize that they could just push a button on, you know, their little box and watch something else.
So hard to push that button though, Chuck. It's
I know.
Like, I have to move my thumb. That's a lot.
Well, now you have like voice command, so you don't even have to push a button.
I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk.
You're in sign language, maybe? I don't know.
Then I have to move a whole bunch of fingers. This is all way too complicated. They should just shut up about it.
You could be like the kid in the X-Men where he just blinks and the channel changes.
But the question is like when you sneeze and then it changes too. It's like, oh, it's like stop doing that.
So anyway, in this philosophy class, Josh, the main character, he disagrees with the way that the professor is forcing his atheism onto the people in the class. Like, he's literally threatening to fail them if they don't agree with him. And this guy's like really off the rails. And so the kid accepts this challenge of persuading the rest of the class that God's not dead by giving like a 20-minute lecture in each of the 3 classes and just kind of like presenting his ideas. And the kid does a fantastic job, and he ends up making the professor kind of look like a jerk when he comes to the climax of the argument in the film and explaining that like God gives us free will and everyone deserves a chance to know God and choose him for themselves, you know, instead of being enforced on them, but they deserve to know. And the story takes some interesting turns, and you see like Sorbo's character reflecting on his life, and you kind of learn some stuff about his past piece by piece throughout the film, and kind of culminates in this ending that's like sad but happy in an overall sense. And they have those multiple storylines kind of coming together at the end, and I think they pulled it together really nicely. I went into this honestly not really sure what to expect of it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think Sorbo did a superb acting job. He really did well in this role of, he's acting like a douche to everyone, including his girlfriend. He's just like treating her like garbage, and it's pretty impressive because I've never really seen him in that type of demeanor. You guys probably remember when we saw him at the New York Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
I think my friend Tom and I were in line to meet the guy from Smallville there, and Kevin Sorbo was like, 4 tables down or whatever, and he's laughing with all of his fans, and he's taking pictures and doing all this fun stuff. He just seems like a really cool guy, but he kind of shows off his acting skills a little bit in this, and I was pretty impressed, actually.
By the way, at the New York Comic Con, I was kind of out of it because Eliza Dushku was there, so
your focus was on one specific thing. So.
Yeah, I could care less about Kevin Sorbo or anybody else at that point. Well, I had a religious studies teacher that was kind of like that. He was an atheist, but if you didn't kind of follow his beliefs, you did not do really good in his class. Like, not sure whether he was Christian, Catholic, or whatnot, but if you didn't share in those exact beliefs that he had, like if you didn't write in a paper like how he wanted you to write, then you did not really pass the class. I think even somebody in the class asked a dumb question, kind of testing it. He kind of heard that this teacher was like that, and somebody tested it with asking a question about he's either Bigfoot or unicorn, something like that. They asked, and he kind of gave a stern look to that student. So I've kind of had a real life experience of this movie.
It's funny because I've had we went to the same school and I think it was Modern Belief or something like that, which I had that class. I must have a different professor. I forget his name. I think Dr. Zim or something like that. I forget.
I did not have that. My guy started with a DE. I don't want to say it.
But mine was the opposite. He was that was honestly probably one of my favorite classes in college, next to a few of my history classes. And he knew a lot. We went to a lot of different religions, pretty much everything from Buddhism to everything really. Talked about all religions in general and the history of them. And that was really cool because it was a really open conversation about stuff, which was kind of...
I would have rather that.
Yeah. Greg and I went to a Catholic college. I'm not Catholic at all, but...
I'm not religious at all.
But we went there, so it was a fine arts school, so you had to take 6 credits of religion and 6 credits of philosophy. But I really liked that class because it was interesting and had the opposite effect, where the guy was very open and it wasn't really about being right or wrong. It was just about expressing opinions, which was kind of cool. So
yeah, I wish I had that.
It is kind of crappy when you have those professors, and really not even just religion, but in political science classes or anything like that, who are so
definitely
close-minded,
power hungry, that they use it as their pulpit to make everyone believe the same or think the way they do. And it's just all right, just because you have 20-year-old kids here, it doesn't mean you can try to mold them into what you think is right. It's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that's the great point about this movie, because I think they're even they're speaking to everyone, not just one side. They're speaking even to Christians that nobody should really force anything on each other. You can talk to people that are interested, and you can let people know certain things, but you have to give people their free will, that they're given right of free will to choose what they want. And the movie did a really good job of that, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I was really impressed with Sorbo. He did a great acting job, and some of the younger actors were pretty good in it too. So overall, good movie there. And my second movie that I saw was Draft Day.
Well, that's a drastic switch. That's Kevin Costner dictating the religion of Kevin Costner.
This is the NFL football movie about the NFL draft, which is actually coming up in a few weeks in real life. It stars Kevin Costner and Jennifer Garner and stuff. Also has Chadwick Boseman, who played Jackie Robinson in 42, which he was awesome in that movie. Dennis Leary's in there as the coach, and it gets interesting there. But I went to see this with my dad, and we're huge football fans, so we kind of figured we'd check this out. And basically, if you're not familiar with the NFL draft, it takes place every spring, and each of the 32 NFL teams are picking college football players in a predetermined order. So there's tons of speculation and suspense about who's taking whom, and they can trade picks. So who's going to trade this, and what kind of deals they're going to make, and all this fun stuff. So we figured this movie would be kind of fun to see, maybe a little bit of background, what goes on. And so the movie follows Kevin Costner as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns.
So it's a documentary.
Yeah. Not the most glamorous job in the world, but it kind of takes you through his whole day. The whole movie takes place in one day, because obviously it's called Draft Day, but it starts off in the morning.
So he wakes up crying, "Why am I part of the Cleveland Browns?"
Exactly. And the movie ends with he signs with another team. No.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah, he signs with the Denver Broncos.
So it takes you through his whole day. It really highlights the stress of the job, the phone calls he's making all day, talking with the coach, talking with the staff, and he's got some personal issues going on too. You find out that his father had just passed away the week before, so he's dealing with that, and he had been a part of the organization, so people are comparing things, and it gets all kind of boogered up there a little bit, and he's trying to wheel and deal with other teams, and he's talking to some of the college players that are coming out. And throughout the whole movie, they really keep you on your toes to as far as who he's going to pick and everything, and who he's going to do with this first round draft pick. And there's not many current NFL players in this film, and I'm guessing it's because of something to do with the players union and various legal snags and this and that, but they do have some present day players. Arian Foster, who's a running back for the Houston Texans, actually plays one of the college kids that's a running back that's coming out. And you have some like former Browns players in there. DeQuell Jackson and TJ Ward were on the Browns a few years back, and they had a lot of like ex-NFL players, some notable ones. They had like Jim Brown in there. Bernie Kosar used to be a quarterback of the Browns. They had Ray Lewis in there because he's got to be in everything.
Not making any sense, just going crazy. It's like
he was doing this dance. It was weird. I don't know.
Was Mel Kiper Jr. and his hair there?
I think very briefly they might have showed him on like a TV screen or something. But you had like some other analyst type guys in there. You had like John Gruden, and he was funny because like how like excited he gets about talking about football, and he just kind of like spills over like a boiling pot or something. Like he's kind of funny to listen to. I like him a lot. But Chris Berman they had on there, who's like a iconic football analyst guy. Rich Eisen and Deion Sanders and everything. So there's some pretty cool realistic elements in there. It makes you feel like it's real life.
Did they have our favorite person, Chuck?
Our favorite person? You mean the winner of our bracket?
No, I'm talking about. Boom! Where did that guy come from?
No,
first person
sadly.
in the draft is Brett Favre.
Sadly, he was not in there. That would have been great actually if they had him in there, but or maybe if they just had like Frank Caliendo like doing his voice or something,
just playing him,
just in the background, like wow, we boom.
It's like stop picking Brett Favre. You can't draft him every day.
He was drafted 23 years ago, so John, things have changed, but a lot of cool stuff in this movie. There's a little bit of character development, but it's predominantly a football movie, and if you're a fan of it, that's what you're going to see anyway. So there's some twists and turns in there that took me by surprise, and I walked away actually feeling very satisfied. I like this movie a lot. Got me psyched for football season, got me psyched for the draft coming up in May. My dad loved it too. We thought it was really great. And we always kind of wondered how the inner workings of an NFL franchise worked, especially on the busiest day of the year, which is draft day. And while this movie probably doesn't share exactly how it goes down, I gotta imagine that it's pretty darn close. It really looked like they did their homework, and it was certainly very clever how they laid this whole thing out. And I think if you're a football fan, even like a casual football fan, I think it's a must-see. I think you would really enjoy it. And I wanted to note some other actor cameos in this that were pretty notable. Greg would like this. Mr. Sam Elliott was in this movie. He was there.
Banquet beer.
Yeah, he was there sporting the mustache proudly,
He called Bill Belichick the double douche.
Yeah, we see Sam Elliott's like a coach of a college team that Kevin Costner calls, and he's asking about this player and stuff. So that was like kind of a funny surprise in there. And oddly enough, we had the CW kind of representing with some of their DC Comics guys in this movie. We had David Ramsey in there who plays Diggle on the show Arrow. And see, yeah. See.
I was thinking the same thing.
Sorry.
Nice.
Oh wait, you guys have seen the first season, right?
Yeah, I don't remember Diggle.
You do not know who Diggle is?
My memory is shit. We've established this.
Which one is
We can't retcon my memory.
You guys have homework. You have to go back and watch the first season.
I gotta go find out.
Damn it, I already have so much shit to read and watch.
I gotta find out Diggle. Looking up Diggle.
That's his buddy who's like, he's with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was a Iraqi vet, and he doubles as his like bodyguard for when he's Oliver Queen or whatever.
Funny. I never even remembered his name. Yeah.
He calls him Dig for short.
Okay.
So, but he's in that, and then also Tom Welling from Smallville is in it. He plays active Browns quarterback Brian Drew in the film. So
interesting.
Pretty interesting that get some DC Comics guys in there, which is pretty funny. Definitely recommend that if you get a chance to check that out.
So a lot of movies to check out, like you mentioned, Draft Day God's Not Dead, The Raid 2, Mistaken for Strangers, and go to bookstores and learn about butt touching. That's what we learned about today. We have some more things to learn about, actually, for our second segment. We're going to be kind of interviewing each other a little bit of random questions for each other, and it should be fun, a little bit different. It's kind of hard to explain, but when it happens, you'll know what we mean. So we'll take a break, and we'll be back in one short bit.
Every week on the In Session Film Podcast, you can expect to hear reviews on all of the latest movies, big films, small films, and everything in between. We'll also do top 3 segments relating back to our main review. We discuss all of the latest movie news and rumblings, as well as have movie series and other fun segments. And we always talk about the films that we're watching and why you should watch them or not watch them as well. If you want to learn more about the In Session Film Podcast, check us out online at InSessionFilm.com. You can hear our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and so much more. In fact, you can listen to everything we have straight from our website. Again, that is InSessionFilm.com. Download our podcast, check us out, and come join us every week. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, and welcome back. And like I mentioned, today we have a little bit of a different thing going on. I feel like I said that every week, so I don't know why I say like different. If I said the same, that'd be weird. But I digress. What we'll be doing here is that I have 20 questions, Greg has 20 questions, and Chuck has 20 questions, and we'll be asking them to one another. I'll be asking Greg, Greg will be asking Chuck, and then Chuck will be asking me a whole round robin of questions. And the idea is that they're humorous questions, and we're kind of curious to see the responses. So it should be a little bit of fun, kind of a different take on that classic game of 20 questions. Anyways, simple enough. All right, I think we're ready to get this thing on the road.
Let's get this party started.
All right. A lot of research has gone into our thoughts process in creating these questions, and they're hard hitting. We're like, 60 minutes meets podcasting with this type of questions, right? So,
hours of research done on Wikipedia.
Yes,
so you know it's right.
Yes. Wikipedia and Reddit and
in each other's diaries.
Wait, what? I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, left pillowcase, Dan. I know.
Good thing Dan didn't look at mine. He'd be traumatized.
Dear God. Just start crying and screaming. It's like the Necronomicon or whatever it is from Evil Dead.
Necronomicon?
Yeah, there you go. That's how you say that. Anyway, so Greg, first one to be put on the microscope. So first hard-hitting question. This is a tough one. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if he was committed?
I feel like this is actually a question for Chuck. But my answer is 55,378,008, which also spells boobless.
Well, I got to go with that one. I think that sounds correct. So
excellent.
Second question.
Nailed it.
Warheads or Sour Patch Kids?
Sour Patch Kids have a restraining order against me, so I'm going to have to go with Warheads.
What did you do to Sour Patch Kids? Oh, I don't want to know.
Nobody wants to know that.
That's why they're sour.
I thought they were salty. Anyways, this question might lead into what you did with the Sour Patch Kids. What South Park character best describes your personality?
Actually, it kind of does. Stan's dad.
You know what? That works. I could see that.
It kind of does, actually. It's kind of sad.
All right. Question number 4. Who really let the dogs out, and what should we do to them?
Dog catchers let the dogs out, and if you mean the dogs, we should let them attack the dog catchers. If you mean the dog catchers, we should let the dogs attack them.
So a lot of dog attacking is what you're saying.
Yeah, just simply the dog catchers should be mauled by dogs.
All right, I could see that. Do dog catchers even exist anymore? I remember seeing those always in the cartoons. Anyways, question number 5. George Lucas, hero, or has he lived long enough to see himself become the villain?
He has actually done neither. He has become Jar Jar Binks.
Oof, ouch. That's sad. That's sad to see.
He's gonna direct the next Star Wars film.
Question number 6. Who are you gonna call?
Who you gonna call? Rick Moranis.
You know what? Good choice. He was really the best Ghostbuster, let's be honest.
He was. I wish he was still acting.
Oh, I know. That's sad. Question number 7. When they ship styrofoam, what do they pack it in?
Glass, of course.
Nice. Question number 8.
Only way you can pack styrofoam.
Question number 8. When you choke a Smurf, what color does it turn?
Purple. Red plus blue.
You know what? Your artistic mind made that work, huh?
That's right. Art class is paying off.
I should have kept a color wheel in my room.
Only a couple $1,000s to figure out the answer to that one.
Was that a major? It's like majoring in Smurf coloring.
There was one class where they kind of dealt with that kind of stuff a little bit. It was a little bit more advanced than that, but it was kind of a little bit of the basic kind of stuff like that.
All right. Question number 9. War. What is it good for?
Horrible Jackie Chan singing.
Nice.
Movie
Question number
references.
10. Coke or Pepsi?
Crystal Club Swiss Miss.
Sounds delicious.
Nobody else is going to know that. It's just going to be a Pennsylvania kind of Scranton area thing.
Oh, yeah, I miss Crystal Club. I don't get it down here. Oh, darn. Question number 11. What came first, the fruit or the color orange?
Orange juice.
Ah, see, good point.
Yeah, you tried to trick me on that one, but I caught you, Dan.
Ah, yeah, see, that's that college education paying off.
That's right.
Question number 12. Where would you bury hidden treasure if you had some?
Bastard, I will never reveal the location of my Lucky Charms. Never.
Damn it. I thought I had it. Question number 13. Occupations you wanted to be when you were a kid. I'm kind of scared to ask this question.
TV watchers? I just want to sit around, watch TV, or read books. That's all I want to do.
You wanted to be a podcaster when you were growing up, apparently.
I just wanted to be a lazy asshole.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like the dude from Office Space.
Nice. Yeah. Question number 14. Have you literally attempted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone?
Birds is being used as the popular synonym for old lady, and kill means stab with my man parts, then yes.
You took that many layers deep, like that old lady, so I'm going to move on to the next question.
Ouch.
If Jimmy cracks corn and no one cares, why is there a song about him?
Then we all starve to death.
All right, good enough. 16. Goldilocks. Cute, innocent girl or future serial killer?
Pretty much all ladies are both, so...
All right. Question number 17. Don't you find it worrying that doctors call treating you their practice?
Only if that doctor is Doctor Who. I don't want that man practicing anything on me. I want things to be established first.
What about Dr. Dre? Would that be okay?
Oh, for Dr. Dre.
His response would be giving you pot for everything. It's like, I'm having a baby, smoke weed. Like, that's not how, stop it.
Dr. Dre, my baby has an arm sticking out of its forehead. Oh, that's just the weed. It does that.
Question number 18. Have you ever pooped in the woods?
I probably have at some point or another, but I have an interesting story. So sit back in those seats, kids, and get a bucket ready. I went out for wings with some friends from back in the day who I don't really talk to at this point.
A lot of pooping stories begin with, I went out for wings.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't talk to them anymore.
Well, the talking didn't stop because of what happened. It just kind of just grew into that later. But went out for wings with some friends and apparently ate too many of them. But I didn't feel the effects until way later when we were out and about, middle of the night, just kind of walking around Carbondale, which is kind of a crappy town around Northeast PA. But we're walking around and we got pretty far away from the one person's house, and that's when my stomach decides, you've got to go right now.
Ouch.
So I was like, oh shit. I'm like, you ladies go on ahead. And by the way, it was three women that I was hanging out with at the time.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, you go out ahead. I couldn't find like a business to go into because it's the middle of the night. They're all freaking closed.
You couldn't find a business for your business?
Yeah, exactly. It was horrendous. But they're like, "Why? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And about a billion freaking questions. I'm like, just go ahead. Just go ahead. And I found it was like this little business. It was the way we were walking. It was like a main strip of road. But I found this place where there were a whole bunch of cars out in the sidewalk. And so I kind of found a spot where I could kind of stay hidden if I ducked down. And maybe if somebody did a quick glance, they would see me. But I dropped my pants and did my business, and it was awful. I hope there were no cameras around.
Oh, God.
But I forgot before I started that I should have looked for something to wipe up with.
That's
yeah, but I so had to go so bad that it just slipped my mind. But
slip something else.
Yeah, and so I'm wrapping up, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have anything to wipe with, and that was a dirty, monstrous deed that I've done.
Oh God, it's got mental images that are not going to go away.
Yeah. Luckily, though, I found a plant next to me. Unluckily, that plant, the insides of it were very wet, and trying to wipe, it was breaking apart, and it was just making things very wet. There was no real drying situation going on. It was just making things worse.
So you're going to say it had thorns or something.
No, it was just very juicy.
Oh. That's not the word I wanted to hear.
I talked about the Browns before. We're talking about the Browns again.
It was like putting an egg on it, huh, Jerry?
It did not make it beefier, no.
This is a brown herring in our episode.
But I got as well cleaned up as I could, and I came out from around the turn, and I think my nose is like on par with most dogs. So I all I could smell was poop the entire time, and I come around the turn, and they kind of knew what I was up to at this point.
All the screaming kind of like...
No. I'm like, yeah, there's no way to look cool after something like that, and I just kind of... My butt cheeks were still kind of slippery from the plant, so that was... So I just wonder what the people the next morning that own that piece of property...
Dear God...
Yeah. Looking back in retrospect, I should have just taken my boxers and forfeited those to the cause instead of using this plan. It probably would have been way better off.
You should have left a little handwritten note that said your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Just left it right on top of the poop pile.
Poop pile. Oh, man. So basically what you're saying is that land now belongs to you because you marked it for your territory.
Yes, I did. I feel bad for the people that actually have footage of that. Like if there was a camera, security cam.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
I'm never going to look at plants the same way again. Well, I'm scared to ask the next question because it kind of goes on the line with the whole chicken wing thing. Question number 19. What came first, the chicken, the egg, or the chicken wing?
Hot sauce deliciousness. For so many reasons.
All right. Question number 20. Last question. On a scale of Pee Wee Herman to Adrian Peterson, what is your badass ranking?
Aquaman. That could go either way.
Because there's a lot of different Aquaman. I mean, the bearded, one-armed, like with the spike for in hand, pretty badass. But the
swimming with the fishes and talking to fishes, not so badass. So it could go either way.
Riding a seahorse.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot about Greg today. So let's learn a little bit more about Chuck. Greg, I think you have questions for him?
Yes, I do. Chuck, question number 1. What would your superhero name be?
Golden Showers.
That's almost as bad as my poop story.
You guys should have
it's catchy. You know?
Golden Showers and brown pants.
There is an actual character in the X-Men comics called Golden Balls.
Nice.
Nice.
What is an extra... This is question number 2. What is an extra body part you would like to have?
I'd have to go with an extra stomach probably so I could eat some more delicious wings.
So Chuck is actually just turning into a cow.
Yeah, I'd be halfway there then. I'd have 2 instead of 4.
Yeah, and maybe you won't have an incident like me. Number 3, which side of the bed do you get out of?
The top side. It's much more efficient than going out through the bottom.
Number 4, could you in a chair?
Yes, I always fight evil in a chair. It's good for the back.
Way more efficient. Question number 5, boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs. It's the best of both worlds.
Yes, good choice.
I go boxers. It's for the ladies.
I thought you'd go. I go with man thongs.
No, because then I can't use those in case of those little incidences. Question number 6, I believe. I didn't number mine. I don't know why. Do you know the way to San Jose?
Of course. I get my burritos there all the time.
Nice. The reference to our favorite Mexican place. Excellent. 7, it's your party, and you can do what you want, and you say what you want. Can you stop?
I only stop for hammer time. Can't touch this.
2 classical musicians referenced in that question.
Classical used very loosely there. So
I know Miley Cyrus is not classical at all. Question number a bazillion and 2: earwax or boogers?
I try to stay away from both. I've actually willed my body to stop producing each of them. So
I wish mine would stop. Whatever this one is. Is Virginia for lovers?
Yes, and Maryland is for crabs.
Sorry to hear that, Dan.
Which is a real slogan, actually.
We are, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. You should get that checked out.
Not those kind of crabs. Well, maybe some.
West Virginia is for chlamydia, so there you
go.
To be a coal miner's daughter.
And the next question. Canada, friend or foe?
I tell you what, they bring me bacon, they are definitely friend.
It's ham, though. It's essentially ham, their bacon.
But they also brought Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, but bacon is more good than Bieber is bad.
Yeah.
It's ham bacon, though. It's not actual
I know,
bacon.
But I hear bacon and it gets me all excited, so.
Okay, pork products do get us excited. Would you rather birdemic shock or terror?
I prefer the shock. I find the terror to be too terrifying.
It is kind of terrifying. I can see how you get that.
Indeed.
How do you want to go out of life?
Fighting an evil alien bent on world domination, and my death is the catalyst that unites a team of heroes inspired to avenge me.
And then you come back for a TV show.
Yes.
Convenience. I think everybody knows my answer to that question. I think
you want to go out on top, literally.
I want to go out on bottom with multiple people on top.
Well, there you go.
Chuck, what is your kryptonite?
It's a green radioactive rock from Krypton, but that's not important right now.
Airplane reference, check.
And he also kind of called himself Superman with that answer, I think.
Impressive. That might be the best answer yet.
Yeah. Chuck, what is your finishing move?
Reverse spinning roundhouse kick to the spleen.
Ouch.
Gets him every time.
Okay. Can you eat just one potato chip?
I can, actually. At least, I did it once. I used the Infinity Gauntlet to rewind time after every chip I ate. Yeah. Some folks would say that's cheating, but those folks would be put in another dimension.
Great use of the Infinity Gems, by the way. Not use it to change anything really relevant in the world.
I know, just stupid shit. just mess with people.
Coming up on the last 5 here. Chuck, what's that thing on your face?
It's actually a voice modulator, but I can't use it to talk into microphones at football stadiums because no one understands me except Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Murder bag.
Give me the next question, please.
Dr. Venture. Hey, Chuck. Want to make out?
Sorry, you're already in the friend zone.
Damn it. I always end up there. Bastards. How old is too old?
I think 16 may be too old to begin potty training.
You should have told me that. Or I think that's around the time I had the incident. Should have hung out with you guys earlier. Chuck, is Obi-Wan your last hope?
He's not, actually. It turns out to escape the Empire, I could have moved to the galaxy next door because they don't get good Force reception.
My last question for you is, should I ask you more questions?
Yes, you should, but wait to ask them at the worst possible times, like when our boat is sinking, or just before I get on a plane. People always get asked a lot of questions before getting on a plane.
Yeah.
Will this plane blow up?
Like, do you really love me? Why are you going?
Will we fly?
Blah, blah, blah. What do we do when the boat hits the water?
Work?
Am I going to freeze to death?
Will Liam Neeson be on this flight? And now we're on to Chuck asking questions of Dan.
Okay. Dan,
Terrible
are you
segue.
ready?
I think I am.
Hope you're ready for these. All right, question number 1 for Dan. If you were the sharpest tool in the shed, which one would you be?
I'd be a hoe.
Not usually sharp, but that's a very good one.
Sharp if used correctly.
Indeed. Gotta love the hose. Number 2, if you were Chuck Norris, who's the first person you would roundhouse kick?
There's so many to choose from, but I'm going to go with Vladimir Putin. Wow. I'm going to go with Vladimir Putin so I can get some of those awesome dolphins.
Kind of weird thing. My nickname is Vladimir Poopin. So.
And that's the name of this episode.
Game, set, and match.
I always seem to name the episodes.
Vladimir Poopin. I don't know why that's funny.
That's going to be on like CNN or something tomorrow.
A boy from Scranton, Pennsylvania has been shot in the face multiple times by a Russian mob.
World War III ignited by Poopin coming.
The power of podcasting.
Yes. All right, number 3. Your life is a movie and it falls into 2 genres. What are they?
Wow, that's a good question for me. I think I'm going to go with animated horror.
Nice. Question number 4. How many light bulbs does it take to change you?
To change me? Geez. Well, it depends on which one you're changing. You change the right one and they all turn off.
That sounded oddly philosophical.
I'm deep, Greg. I'm deep.
So am I.
Is that what that is? Sorry.
Okay, question number 5. This question fits in oddly well with this episode, which I did not plan out, but this is
We've been hanging out for way too long, guys.
Question number 5. Do you wipe front to back or back to front? When cleaning a table.
Wow.
Don't know what you're thinking about.
Don't use any juicy leaves.
Well, I typically use my teeth, so I prefer a zigzag pattern, actually.
Nice. It gets it cleaner, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want your table being dirty.
No. You gotta get it spotless. Gotta get it spotless. Because, like, if it's not clean, it's gonna bug you for the rest of the day.
It is, yep. And you have to go back and clean it harder the next time.
Yeah.
So, next question. Number 6. What would happen if you had multiple solo cups?
You would have to freeze one solo cup in carbonite.
Nice.
I love you, solo cup.
I know.
I just imagine some drunk guy doing that. Solo cup.
Toby Keith?
Yeah.
Solo cup. Number 7. If you were the first on the moon, what's the first thing you would say?
YOLO.
And, oh, wow. And then NASA would not bring you back.
The moon was blown up today by one man simply saying YOLO.
He's carving it into the moon dust.
Oh, wow.
The world has to read it every night. Because it's not on enough t-shirts. Number 8. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Whatever one Optimus Prime is riding.
Nice. Dinobots. Okay, number 9. This is a tricky one. Throwing you a little curve here. If you were a cliche interview question, which one would you be?
Ooh, well, based upon all the interviews I've been in, do you have mental problems?
How does that usually go?
Not well. The good thing is they always, have someone escorting me outside the building so I don't get lost, which I appreciate.
That's very kind of them.
Yeah.
Okay, number 10. If you could name your own sandwich, which one would you call it?
I'd call it Revenge because it would be a cold dish.
Nice. And it would be very vengeful on the way out.
Yes, yeah. That's what Greg ate before his night in the woods.
No, it was hot wings. Come on.
It was a hot wing sandwich, let's be honest. Okay, question number 11. Dan, your Comic-Con survival kit would include what 3 items?
Well, going to Comic-Con, you need deodorant. That's a must.
Definitely.
A counterfeit Amazing Fantasy 15 that I can throw as a distraction to get away from large crowds.
Decoy.
And finally, a skin-tight Black Widow costume I can use as a disguise. So.
Nice. I'm guessing the Spider-Man comic would be like a nerd grenade.
Get down!
You just throw it and they're all like, oh my god! They run over there.
It's Dan screaming, get to the chopper!
Yeah, and you need the deodorant too, not for yourself, but for everyone else there.
Yeah, it has to be like an Axe spray deodorant so you can hit up other people.
It's like you need like a deodorant ninja that goes around and just spraying people.
Have grenades filled up with cologne.
Whoa, look over there. It's X-Men number 1. Quick, get them.
They're like booby-trapped comics where it's like you open it and it explodes deodorant.
It's like the little ink explosions on the clothing labels, but they're scented nice.
Nice.
Okay, question number 12. If you became an ordinary human being, what would you miss most about being a superhero?
All the reboots.
They do get annoying after a while. I could see how that would bother you. Next question. What color would your lightsaber be?
Polka dotted.
Nice.
Mine would be flesh colored. Is that weird?
It's only weird if you want it to be.
Explains why it's not that big.
Oh.
Sorry. I haven't mean that.
That's a double-edged lightsaber right there. That was a loaded question, sorry. Number 14. Do you have a lead foot? And also, on an unrelated note, do you drive fast?
Yes, and for the second question, surprisingly, no. So
you got some pretty strong leg muscles there to hold that lead foot up.
Yeah. I can kick like no other.
Nice. So if you did get the Chuck Norris power, you'd be unstoppable.
Pretty much.
Okay, on to the next one. What traffic sign best describes you?
Well, I think I'm going to go with a double answer here. As a kid, I would say slow children. And as adult, slippery and when wet.
Nice. That also a loaded question. Yield. No. Number 16. Little comic-related question here. Marvel's Civil War. You taking Iron Man's side, or are you going with Captain America?
Well, I believe I was on Iron Man's side. But then my aunt got sick and died, and I made a deal with the devil. And then things got fuzzy. It was not my best day, so I don't remember. But in the actual comics, I would probably go with I was on Cap's side, I believe, because it's Captain America. Screw you, exactly. Iron Man.
Next question, number 17. The greatest Halloween costume is
probably slutty.
Hey.
That's about 90% of them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Number 18, oddly enough, fits well into this episode also. Do you give courtesy flushes?
For me, it's a courtesy not to flush.
Smells like roses. Number 19, can you feel the love tonight?
If by love you mean Greg's hand on my inner thigh, then yes, I can.
I can feel it in the air tonight, so yeah.
Can you feel the love tonight? That's all I know. I know what you're
something about lying. I don't remember.
What? What movie were you watching?
The Lion King.
The uncut Disney version.
Bestiality going down.
Really, you think about it. I mean, that's what that movie really was about. So, or maybe not, but you know.
Kid tested, mother approved.
On a side note, when I was a kid, I used to think that song was Pennsylvania.
Easy.
I was always like, why is he in Africa and he's talking about my state? I don't know. Anyway, last question for Dan. What's the square root of awesome?
The Fonz.
That's a good answer.
It's a good answer, because the Fonz squared would be awesome.
Yeah.
So that is it for me. That's it for my list.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was a little bit of fun. We got some interesting stories about us, at least about Greg. And
stories are always interesting, damn it. This is why I do not go out in public.
And we got an awesome nickname for Vladimir Poopin, so I think mission is accomplished for sure. But if you listen to us regularly, you know we like to end each episode with a letter. And Greg, I believe you have a letter for today?
Yes, I do.
Anyways, Greg, I'll let you take it away with your letter.
All right. Dear Legion of the Loud. So it feels like we are finally getting into some nice warm weather, which is great, but with this good comes the bad. That bad, unfortunately, is you, the members of the Legion. One of my least favorite of your ilk is the motorcycle enthusiasts. With the warm, dry weather, they finally get to pull out their hogs and ride them as hard as they want. But that leaves But that leaves the rest of us with a nice, peaceful day shattered by a cataclysmic, deafening, belching pig of a ride going down the road. I seriously hear a bike coming and going for miles sometimes. Then there is the brother to the motorcycle lovers, and that is the import tuners and their coffee can mufflers. Not only are they loud, but that sound is seriously horrible. Personally, I wouldn't want to drive in a car that sounds like someone queefing into a megaphone.
Oh, God.
I'll let that sink in a little.
I'm really not sleeping tonight.
Let that sink in a little bit. Unlike the men on motorcycles, we get to experience you all year round. Oh, joy. Another member of the Legion would be the screamy, uncontrolled kids in restaurants or movies. This is definitely the parents' fault, not the kids. I know you could use some time for a date or something, but we all don't need to have our nights ruined so you can see the latest movie. You had the kid, and these are the consequences. Sorry. Suck it up. Finally, we have their older brothers and sisters who are obnoxiously loud just for the attention. This time around, it isn't completely the parents' fault. We have tweens and teenagers who are just loud so they can get attention. I'm sorry? What? No one gives a shit about you? Well, guess what? Even after your loud antics, we give even less of a shit about you. So I went a bit broad with my membership categories. I would like to apologize to those that are in one of those four groups and are not obnoxious. Thanks for being considerate. Use your indoor voice, Greg.
Very nice. The Legion of the Obnoxious, is that what it was called?
Legion of the Loud.
Legion of the Loud. Nice.
I tried to use a little bit of alliteration in there, even though there was an of and the in there.
Nice. Luckily, where I'm currently at, I don't really hear a lot of traffic, but my brother who lived on like Main Street, when I would stay there, it was near a donut shop, and for whatever reason, bikers love donut shops. And it was just, those things would echo like no tomorrow.
You could tell lovers like donut shops. They got a bit of a belly going on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But anything else before we bring this episode to a close?
Nope, I got no more questions, no more lies, no more stories about pooping.
No.
I don't think anybody wants to hear more of me, so.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed this week's show, and there's a lot of ways to get in contact with us if you want to answer Greg's question about his weird waitress or just in general. You can email us at feedback@geekcastradio.com or at talkingincircles@live.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Talking in Circles GCRN, or on the episode post at geekcastradio.com. But we'll be back next week, and I think we actually have an idea of what we'll be up to next week. We'll be talking about our favorite comic book stories. So if you have any comic book stories you would like to talk about, feel free to email us. Maybe we'll include them in our episode. But that's it for us for this week. So for now,
this has been Chuck.
This has been Greg, or Vladimir Poopin.
And this has been Dan, and we've been Talking in Circles. We'll see you next week. Now we just need to give Vladimir Poopin like a theme song or something.
It's going to be stuck in my head. I'm going to be using that every day now.
That must have been his mother in the Anne Frank that was shitting in the back.
I was right next to that lady in the corner pooping away.
We've been, really gravitating towards the shitting stories the last few weeks here.
I don't know what that says about us, but...
Awful people.
Once you get past the smell, you got it licked.
Oh,
that's gonna burn. Burn deep.
I had to contribute something.
You can email us at feedback@thisweekingeek. That's not the right email address. And Greg, I believe you have a letter for today?
Yes, I do.
Why do you let us know what that is all about? And I don't know why I acted really weird there and
phrased it that way, because
Yeah.
I'm confused about what I'm supposed to do right now.
William Shatner is voicing our episode here.